Hey, beautiful people. It's Abigail here to normalize these conversations and education about death and dying so we die better at end of life. So let's get into it. I want to do a response because I I always appreciate feedback, and I will never be a person that, even in this area, even though I have a lot of experience, personally, professionally, whatever it was, I'm never going to be a person that thinks they know everything. And so I really like feedback and I appreciate constructive feedback. And I also always am trying to be clear. And if I'm not being clear, I really I want to make sure I'm being better because I'm a registered nurse and I have all my disclaimers because, we don't form a patient provider or patient clinician relationship, I should say. And I'm also very clear, when I post anything that's like about therapeutic communication, um, loss, grief, that kind of stuff, I make it clear, I'm not a therapist and I don't pretend to be one because I'm not. I'm trained as a nurse. Yes, I did get some additional training, in certain areas with dementia, with therapeutic communication, things like that around death and dying. But I no way, shape, or form claim to be a therapist at all or anything outside of my scope of practice as an RN. So I really want to make that clear. And what I recently just wanted to share some feedback I got on my podcast, which is now everything is going to be now on YouTube. I'm keeping all my episodes up, but as of April or March of 2026, I'm just going to be doing everything on YouTube and not having a podcast on Apple Podcast. So I got another review, and what was great is I got an updated review. Now, some people may look at this and go, "Oh, this is not a good review," and I'm not going to focus on that. I focus on what I can take from it. And I also want to provide, I think, my perspective because I think, I personally think there's something worth in my perspective with this. And again, I'm not trying to be a therapist. I'm not trying to, look like I'm working out of my lane. I know that you can't please everybody, but I really think I have, at least when I worked with people, this resonated a lot with people. So basically, this person really took the time. I appreciate it to update their review, and they mentioned that they had their original review, and later I started adding in grief of divorce, etc., and they almost deleted it. And I'll explain where that came from. And this is a licensed professional counselor, which is amazing. And this person, I'm sorry, was very clear to say that all grief is not the same and should not be mixed as it is, which is true. Not all grief is the same. It's very different for different situations, different people. So, and she goes on and then just said, let certain other people deal with divorce, do what I'm good at. And so, anyway, and then it was some questions about, is the divorce say dying better, or even the patient's caregiver dying better? So, really good points. You can obviously see it on Apple Podcasts. Um, but anyway, I appreciate this. Some people, I showed this to somebody else. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're going to rip them to pieces. Like, no, first of all, they know I don't do that, but they were kind of a little, like, why would somebody do that? First of all, it's the internet. People are going to leave comments, and this is um, a free space. Leave comments, whatever. I appreciate it, and I always want to be open and learning. And sure, call me out if I mess something up. Call me out. I do want to take an opportunity though to explain where I'm coming from because I think it's valuable. So, and maybe you're listening to this. If the person is listening to this and you're like, nope, still wrong, let me know. Okay, please. I'm open. So, I do bring up, and I did bring up just one sentence in my book because death touches all aspects of our lives. And yes, I have specialized in the physical death of a body, right? The clinical aspect, the other aspects tied to it. I taught, I consulted on it, I did a bunch of stuff, so at many different levels, and I got to learn so much. The reason why I do bring up sometimes when I talk about death, and I say, And this may not just be a physical death. It could be a death of something in your life, like a relationship, say through divorce, like of an identity, say through retirement. Um, even if it's a good thing, you have a change, a death of your single life, and you become a mother, a parent, and there's a death there. Now, all of those things, again, they're they're going to be different um, type of loss for different people. The grief will be different. It'll look different. Um, of course, all that said. And so I'm not trying to say those are all the same. I want to be really clear those are not all the same. But in these major life events where we experience the death of something, it can feel like it's almost the death of losing a physical person. And I bring this up because clinically, there is a diagnosis. And there are cardiac diagnoses, specifically the broken heart syndrome, which I would see over and over when I had a patient on hospice and they died and their spouse died always within 6 months. It's like we could tell. We almost knew like, oh, it's time to get so and so on hospice because their spouse died. They're going to die within 6 months, and it happens so often. Um, Parents who have lost a child or just experiencing a death of something, even not just a person, but people who have lost something that's so dear, a friendship or a type of relationship that broke their heart. And this physical diagnosis that actually happens is tied to the emotional pain, where there is so much pressure and stress on the heart that you develop these cardiac like symptoms and cardiac symptoms actually, to where you can have a cardiac event, a heart attack, up to and including death. So I feel like this is important to talk about because we can't separate, obviously, the mental and emotional and physical parts of ourselves because they all are kind of working together and overlap. And yes, maybe people want me to stay in my lane. And of course, I don't ever want to speak out. And this is why I say I'm not a therapist. I'm really clear. And nor do I pretend to act like one. I really don't think so. But, um, and if there's something I've said in the past too, always just please tell me. I will want to learn, and I appreciate feedback, most importantly, constructive feedback, because the most important here is that you get something out of this. I, yes, have the experience. I got to see a lot. And the only thing I want to do here is make this whole part of your life easier. Have some clarity, have confidence about what you're doing and how you're maneuvering through it and how you're navigating through it, and feel like you can do this with the right information. So this is my whole goal for you. So yeah, am I going to get it right 100% of the time? Of course not. I'm not perfect. None of us are. So yes, I always want the feedback, especially constructive. And I'm really sorry that my intention with this topic and bringing up the deaths outside of a physical death of somebody or a pet, or the physical death of something, and kind of diving into where we experience death in our lives and other areas. I'm sorry that it didn't come across as the way I intended it to, because the intention was really what I just explained, and that's where it came from. And I probably could be more articulate with this. I just did this I'm just doing a little free spiel right now as I review this. And they did say to shake off these other things, go back to your original mission statement and intended purpose. And they were very complimentary. They said, you have something incredible, which I really appreciate. I mean, I appreciate them taking the time. Don't throw away just to be another average podcast. And I hope I'm not an average podcast. I mean, this is a really critical need. So the dying, yes, needs support. The dying need support. The caregivers of people who are dying need support. And those experiencing death in their lives need support. So, and I'm not trying to be here for everybody, but everybody will die and everybody will experience death to these different degrees in their life. And yes, I am trying to be kind of inclusionary there. And maybe that's my mistake. Maybe I need to figure that out more. But I feel like that's something important to acknowledge in life, because we don't just experience death with our physical death or death with a physical death of a loved one, because we experience death in many different ways in our lives. So I'll give it some more thought. If there's anything more I have to add, I'll let you know. Any more insights that I think might be valuable, but let me know your thoughts. I would appreciate your thoughts. And I really appreciate the feedback. This person who took the time to write this and update their review, I want you to know that I appreciate it. I want you to know that I appreciate you taking the time to clearly state what your concerns were, and also still being supportive, because I know your intention is not just to slam me down. You're clearly saying that there's a need for this. And all I want to do was express really my true intent behind it, because I still feel like there's value there. And again, maybe I have a block here, but I still feel like that has little value, and I'm not delving into it too much, but I do like to just touch on that because I think it's significant. And like I said, people who experience not just physical death of a person, but experience death in their life, especially with a significant relationship, even if that person is still alive, they can suffer serious medical consequences. And this really does impact our physical health too. So anyway, I appreciate you, the person that took the time for this. It really means a lot, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I really do. Thank you so much. Let's continue to normalize these conversations and education about death and dying. So as you know, we die better at the end of life, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.